from around 6 p.m. to 6:30, we will be interacting with all the questions that you have raised. So my first question will be to Mr. Kushwant Singh Sethi, Joint Secretary for Panchayati Raj Ministry. Sir, the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, we also heard the Additional Secretary speak. So the Ministry of Panchayati Raj has been focusing on the Gram Panchayat development plans as a tool for planning for the entire development of the village at a holistic level. How do you see sanitation to be a part of the Gram Panchayat the development plan process? And what is it that the MOPR plans to help incorporate the sanitation program in the GPTP? Yes, over to you, sir.
Panchayats are constitutionally mandated to prepare plans for ensuring economic development in the respective areas, as well as for ensuring social justice. And also amongst the 29 subjects that are listed in the 11th schedule that are to be devolved to the panchayats, the subjects of water and sanitation are very important subjects as they ensure the provision of these very basic services to the rural citizens. So therefore, incorporating the areas of both water and sanitation, which are not only subjects of national importance, but also the key important basic services in the rural areas assumes great significance. So keeping in view this, the ministry has been in collaboration with the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and also with other stakeholders, including NIRDPR and UNICEF. The ministry has been advising all the panchayats across the states for according high priority to these areas, even during the 14th Finance Commission. So I also may mention that it is from the 14th Finance Commission that the regular planning process has been started in the panchayats. The GPTP planning process, as we all know it, as it is popularly known. The 15th Finance Commission, of course, has given a huge impetus to the areas of sanitation by specifically tying certain percentage of the for the 15th Finance Commission grants to these two sectors. For the year 2021, there was a provision of 50% tied grants only for the areas of water and sanitation, and even amongst the tied grants, there was half of the tied grants were for earmarked for the water sector and half for the sanitation sector. So in the interim year, this was 50-50. That is the year 2021, last financial year. However, for the main report of the Finance Commission, this has been now enhanced to 60%. So we can see, out of the 2,36,000 crore that will be going to the panchayats, a huge chunk of the money is clearly earmarked for water and sanitation, which is 60% of this amount. And this amount comes to about 1,42,000, which is going to be given to the panchayats over this 5-year period up to 2026. So the panchayats are necessarily mandated to include this in their planning process, the interventions related to sanitation and also those relating to water. And the ministry also has a very strong MIS system where all the 2.5 lakh panchayats do this planning on a e-platform, the e-Gram Swaraj. And this e-Gram Swaraj is available in the public domain. And any rules, any citizen in the country, anybody can access it. It's in the public domain. The entire planning process is done on that. And not only the planning process, but the implementation and also all the financial payments, etc., are all done on the e-Gram Swaraj platform. So this ensures great transparency and accountability. So further, during the 15th Finance Commission, it is not only the Gram Panchayats that are getting the grants now, but also the other two tiers, the Block Panchayats and the District Panchayats, the Zilla Panchayats. So in for both these panchayats, the grants that are going to them from the Finance Commission are also earmarked in terms of tight grants for the areas of water and sanitation. So these are the comprehensive manners in which the ministry ensures that Sanitation continues to be accorded a high place of importance in line with the national importance that it has been given in recent times. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. धन्यवाद सर. जैसे आपने कहा, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पंचायती राज और 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन ने इस बार तो बहुत ज्यादा आर्थिक सहायता ग्राम पंचायत तो इनफैक्ट पंचायत व्यवस्था को दी है, और खास करके 60% राशि जैसे आपने कहा अभी वाटर सैनिटेशन के लिए है, एंड 1,42,000 crore in 5 years, sir, almost comes out to just below 30,000 crores a year. So 14,000 crores with the panchayats only for sanitation, but 50% agar hum mane. So fantastic effort. And I will also flag, sir, कि जो Ministry of Panchayati Raj का जो e-Gram Swaraj है, वो एक पिछले 2 साल में there has been plenty of changes and improvement in the system, which has really allowed the GPDP system to be put into it in a more structured manner. Let me put it in this way. And जो जानकारी मेरे को है कि अभी जल जीवन मिशन और स्वच्छ भारत मिशन दोनों के इंडिकेटर्स जीपीडीपी और ई स्वराज के फ्रेमवर्क में स्ट्रेंथन किए गए हैं, ताकि ज्यादा डिटेल में ग्राम पंचायत प्लान इस दोनों एरिया को रिफ्लेक्ट कर पाए. And we are really hoping that this system, the e-Gram Swaraj system, will be used by the Panchayat Ministry as well as at the state level to really look at the Gram Panchayat plans and monitor them in a practical way, sir. Thank you for your response, sir. And I will come back with another question, sir, after one round. Don't mind. My next question will be to Kapil Choudhary साहब जो SBM director है, Ministry Jal Shakti Drinking Water Sanitation Ministry में. Kapil ji, the SBM, as you know, is now in its second phase. After a very successful first phase, जो in fact first phase जैसे मैं कहा था और जैसे आज के mornings, I mean afternoon sessions में बाकी लोगों ने कहा international recognition मिला है स्वच्छ भारत मिशन फेज 1 को. मगर मेरे ख्याल में स्वच्छ भारत मिशन का सेकंड फेज थोड़ा ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है as compared to phase 1, because phase 1 फोकस था ODF elimination, जो मुश्किल काम था, लेकिन practical ground में the work was focused on construction of latrines and providing access. But now in phase 2, you have to not only look at the uncovered, कि जो लोग नहीं cover हुए हैं उनको cover करें, either with household toilets or with community latrines. Then you also look at making sure that ODF status is maintained, sustained. And thirdly, you look at SLWM with the 4 verticals as you are handling yourself, plastic waste, bio waste, fecal sludge management and grey water. So इस पूरे process में आपके हिसाब से what kind of convergence are you seeing happening? कैसे Ministry of Jal Shakti इसको अपने view से implement कर रही है? Please, if you can bring some light. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Sujoy ji. So, as pointed by you that in this Swachh Bharat mission phase 2, where the aim of this mission is to sustain the ODF status which was achieved in ODF and Swachh Bharat mission phase 1, and also implement the solid liquid waste management in rural areas. With this mission, so first thing is that as you pointed out that a large budget has been made available to this mission. And this is a result of the innovative financing devised by the government of India to make sure that the mission doesn't fall short of funds. So the main the point of implementation of this mission is that it is relying on the convergence mechanism. So the funds come through a convergence mechanism involving various government programs. So as you are aware that the mission has budgetary total outlay of rupees 1.4 lakh crore, so which these funds will be garnered basically from the main 3 programs which are Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin and 15 Finance Commission and MNREGA. So The main point of this convergence is, as pointed out earlier by the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, is the critical role of the Panchayati Raj institutions, which are essential for implementation of this convergence model. So we have already issued a guidelines in respect how this convergence will be happening at the field level from all these three main programs. And we hope that the guidelines which will ensure that the various activities of the solid liquid waste management, either it is a plastic waste management and the solid waste management and fecal sludge and grey water management. So these guidelines, which have been critically have brought out the activities which can be funded from various programs. This will help the state in implementing these major verticals of the Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapil ji. In fact, SBM, the whole SBMG program, second program, the approval that has come from government cabinet is that the funding, the whole requirement, I think, is 140,000 crores. And that will come from a mixture of the SBMG fund, the FFC, and the Manrega funds and other funds available at the field level. So convergence has become critical, and it is very good to see कि अभी पिछले कुछ दिनों में Ministry of Jal Shakti और Ministry of Panchayati Raj ने काफी closely converge किया है कि इसको कैसे facilitate करे at the ground level. So before I go down to the state colleagues, I will really move to the Gram Panchayat level. And as I mentioned, we are very fortunate to have with us Madam Priyanka, who is the Gram Pradhan of Gram Panchayat Rajpur in Hathras in UP. Madam Priyanka is a person who has worked and is implementing the program at the Gram Panchayat level. And her Gram Panchayat is one of the leading Gram Panchayats in UP, जहाँ पे अच्छा काम हुआ है. Priyanka ji, thank you for the program. Priyanka ji, my question is, first of all, I am very happy to see a young lady Gram Panchayat Pradhan from the state of UP. It gives us confidence that India is really moving forward and the Gram Panchayat is really geared up to carry out this work. So, Priyanka ji, please explain your experience as a citizen and now as a Gram Panchayat leader implementing the sanitation program in Rajpur. What have been your main successes that you have faced? We'd like to hear from you.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing me to all. Actually, प्रधान बनने के बाद जो सबसे पहला काम हमने किया था वो था प्लास्टिक बैन करना. रीजन ये था कि गांव में सबसे ज्यादा गंदगी का रीजन था प्लास्टिक अगर नालियों में जा रहा है, नाली ब्लॉक हो रही है तो वो सफाई हो नहीं पाती है. उसके अलावा वही जानवर खा रहे हैं, उसी को अगर हम कहीं इकट्ठा करके उस कचरे को एक जगह डंप भी करते हैं तो वो वही प्लास्टिक उड़ के इधर उधर जाता है और गंदगी करता है. तो जो सबसे बड़ा गंदगी का रीजन है, सैनिटेशन के थ्रू अगर हम जाते हैं या हाइजीन को फोकस करते हैं तो उसके लिए था प्लास्टिक, और वही मैंने किया. और उससे एटलीस्ट 40 to 45% मुझे अपने आप सफाई देखने को मिली. मुझे करना नहीं पड़ा उसके लिए कुछ. हाँ, ये जरूर किया मैंने कि मैं थोड़ी सी स्ट्रिक्ट हुई. मैंने कुछ पेनल्टीज लगाए जो शॉपकीपर्स थे वहां पे उन लोगों के ऊपर, और ये चीज कंट्रोल हुई. तो मैं सबसे पहले रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी सबसे कि आप अपने अपने पंचायतों में अगर प्लास्टिक, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक पे थोड़ा सा भी काम करेंगे तो आप सैनिटेशन या हाइजीन या सफाई की तरफ अपना एक कदम सबसे पहले बढ़ा लेंगे. दूसरी चीज मैं ये बोलूंगी कि SLWM के लिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज जो है वो है लोगों का बिहेवियर चेंज होना. और अगर हम किसी के ऊपर कोई भी डिसीजन बना करके या कोई भी स्कीम ला करके या कुछ भी हम अगर उन लोगों के ऊपर जबरदस्ती करेंगे कुछ करने के लिए तो कोई कुछ नहीं करेगा. हमें उनके साथ माइंड प्ले करना पड़ेगा. हमें उनको वो डेली रूटीन, उनके रेगुलर जो एक्सरसाइज है उसमें डालनी पड़ेगी. ये प्रैक्टिस जो SLWM का है. गांव में लोगों को अभी तक यही नहीं पता है कि सॉलिड वेस्ट, लिक्विड वेस्ट होता क्या है. उन्हें अभी तक इसकी जानकारी नहीं है। हाइजीन की तरफ लोग बढ़े हैं, जो कोविड सेशन आया था पूरा, और मैं प्रधान भी बनी थी, तो वो कोविड पीरियड ही था, मेरे को भी 9 मंथ्स हुए हैं प्रधान बने हुए। तो उस टाइम पे लोगों की लाइफस्टाइल में एक चीज ऐड जरूर हुई है, वो है हाइजीन, लेकिन उसे हमें रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस में रखना पड़ेगा। इसके लिए हम चाहते हैं कि हम जो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, जो बेसिक शिक्षा इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, हम उनसे कोलैबोरेट करें और इसको स्कूलों में, स्कूल्स में रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस इसकी स्टार्ट करवाएं। क्योंकि अगर हमने बच्चों के माइंड के साथ इसको कनेक्ट कर दिया, अगर बच्चों की प्रैक्टिस में आ गई ये चीज, क्योंकि अगर हम ओडीएफ की बात करते हैं, ओडीएफ जो हमारा फर्स्ट फेज था, उसमें 80% तक हम उसको कंट्रोल कर पाए हैं ओडीएफ को, बट बच्चों को हम अभी भी नहीं रोक पाए हैं। अगर ये एजुकेशन हम उन्हें स्कूल में देने लग जाएं कि वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट कैसे करना है, आप वेस्ट को सेग्रीगेट कैसे करिए, हम डिफरेंट डस्टबिन रख दें, उनको बताएं कि सॉलिड वेस्ट ये है, लिक्विड आप इसमें डालिए, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, क्योंकि सब बच्चे जो होते हैं वो सबसे ज्यादा जो प्लास्टिक का यूज होता है वो बच्चों के थ्रू होता है, चॉकलेट, चिप्स, और ये चीजें हम बंद नहीं कर सकते, बिस्किट्स, कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स। तो आई थिंक ये हमें एक एजुकेशन में डाल देना चाहिए। इसके अलावा एक जो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है पंचायत लेवल पे, वो है मेंस्ट्रुअल जो वेस्ट होता है। महामारी के टाइम पे महामारी के टाइम पे जो वेस्ट निकलता है, उसका हम क्या करें, ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, जिसपे अभी कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बट पूरी तरह से हम अभी इसको अचीव नहीं कर पाए हैं। इस पे फोकस करने की जरूरत है, अभी भी है पंचायतों में। हम अगर औरतों से बात भी करते हैं तो अभी वो थोड़ी शाय हैं, उनको एडल्ट एजुकेशन की जरूरत है, जो हम अभी प्लान कर रहे हैं कि अभी जब इलेक्शन खत्म हो जाएगा उत्तर प्रदेश में, तो हम उनको एडल्ट एजुकेशन भी देंगे, जिसमें बुजुर्ग, महिलाएं और जो युवतियां, यूथ है, उसको हम अलग अलग पार्ट्स में एजुकेट करेंगे हर चीज के लिए। तो एक ये है। वाटर वेस्टेज का एक सबसे बड़ा रीजन है गांव में जो समरसेबल होते हैं, वो बहुत बड़ा रीजन है, क्योंकि लोग समरसेबल लगवा लेते हैं, बट उसके जो एक दो बेसिक चीजें हैं वो उस चीज को फोकस नहीं करते। फॉर एग्जाम्पल ऑन ऑफ बटन, वो ऑन ऑफ बटन उनके यहाँ पे नहीं होता है। अगर उन्हें 1 गिलास पानी भी लेना है तो वो समरसेबल ऑन करेंगे, वो 1 गिलास पानी लेंगे और कम से कम 5 से 10 बाल्टी पानी वो वेस्ट करेंगे। इनफैक्ट अगर आपके ऑन ऑफ बटन नहीं है तो जब तक लाइट आती है गांव के इलाके में, ग्राम पंचायतों में, वो समरसेबल ऑन रहता है और वो पानी निकलता जाता है। हेलो,
हाँ बोलिए प्रियंका जी, सुन रहे हैं।
जी जी, तो वो पानी निकलता रहता है। तो मैं एक सजेशन ये भी देना चाहूंगी कि जब भी ग्राम पंचायत में कोई भी समरसेबल लगे, तो उससे पहले उन्हें कुछ एक बेसिक चेक्स होने चाहिए, जो पहले कंडक्ट करना चाहिए, कि या तो वहां पे वाटर टैंक अवेलेबल हो समरसेबल लगवाने से पहले, ठीक है, उसके अलावा ऑन ऑफ बटन हो। कुछ पेनल्टीज के थ्रू भी हम इसको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, कि जहां पे अगर ये चीजें हैं तो हम उन पे पेनल्टी लगा सकते हैं। और ये एक ऐसी चीज है पेनल्टी, जो एक मतलब अगर हम लोगों को पेनल्टी लगाएंगे तो बाय डिफॉल्ट वो इससे बचने के लिए सारे प्रिकॉशंस लेके चलेंगे, तो हम इससे वाटर वेस्टेज बचा सकते हैं। हम बहुत सारा पानी नालियों से निकाल देते हैं। एक चीज और ये नालियों से रिलेटेड है कि हम ये मेरे खुद के गांव का एक्सपीरियंस है, सॉरी बट मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि कई जगह काम होते हैं, बट वो प्रॉपर प्लानिंग के हिसाब से प्लॉटिंग नहीं हो पाती है उन चीजों की। तो जो नालियां बनी हुई हैं, जो ड्रेनेज सिस्टम है, वो नीचे की तरफ फ्लो करने की बजाय वो ऊपर की तरफ फ्लो करता है, जिसकी वजह पानी गांव से बाहर जाने की बजाय, जो नालियों का पानी होता है, जो ग्रे वाटर होता है, वो बाहर जाने की बजाय गांव के अंदर आ जाता है। हमने इसका सोल्यूशन ये किया कि हमने उसको डाइवर्ट करके गांव के 4 साइड में गड्ढे बना दिए हैं कुछ, और वो पूरा पानी वहां जाता है। अभी हमें एक प्रोजेक्ट मिला है, गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से प्रोजेक्ट है, ये सबको मिला है ग्राम पंचायत में, कि हम सॉलिड लिक्विड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट पे वर्क करें। तो हमारा प्लान ये है कि वो जो पानी निकल के वहां तक जा रही है उस गड्ढे में, उसके बीच में हम सिल्ट चैम्बर्स बनवा देंगे, जिससे पानी वहां फिल्टर हो जाया करेगा। तो ये एक अच्छा आइडिया है, इस पे हम वर्क कर सकते हैं, और इस पे आप अपने पंचायत में भी काम कर सकते हैं। इसके अलावा जो ग्राम पंचायतों को हम और ज्यादा मोटिवेट करने के लिए अवार्ड्स रख सकते हैं, जो बहुत सारे अवार्ड्स अभी भी दिए जा रहे हैं। तो उन अवार्ड्स के चक्कर में पंचायतों में काम होता है। ऐसा नहीं है पंचायत में ग्राम प्रधान काम नहीं कर रहे हैं या डिपार्टमेंट्स काम नहीं कर रहे हैं। डिपार्टमेंट बहुत काम कर रहा है, बहुत सारी प्लान्स हैं, बहुत सारी स्कीम्स आ रहे हैं जो लोगों के हित में काम करते हैं, बट वो चीज ग्राउंड तक नहीं पहुंच पाता है फॉर XYZ रीजंस। तो इसलिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट ये करूंगी कि जो भी ये प्लान्स होते हैं उनको नीचे तक पूरी तरह से पहुंचा दिया जाए। टेक्निकल सपोर्ट मतलब जो भी चीजें हम प्लान कर रहे हैं वो इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे करेंगे, वो इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए एक कोई भी टीम हो, चाहे वो एजेंसी हो, NGO हो या SBM की टीम हो, हम उनका सपोर्ट ले सकते हैं। कई बार होता है उसके लैक होने के कारण, सपोर्ट सिस्टम लैक करने के कारण प्रॉपर काम नहीं हो पाता है। ग्राम प्रधान काम करवाते हैं बट वो उतना एफिशिएंट वर्क नहीं हो पाता है जितना अगर हम एक टीम के साथ मिलकर के करें जो इसी में वर्क कर रहे हैं। तो आई थिंक और सबसे बड़ी चीज ये कि पीपल का कंट्रीब्यूशन, लोगों का, जो ग्रामवासी हैं उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन होना उसमें बहुत बहुत जरूरी है। वो हम अपना कोई भी डिसीजन उन पे इम्पोज नहीं कर सकते हैं, हमें उन्हें एडुकेट करना पड़ेगा और हम अभी उसी पे काम कर रहे हैं। काफी सारी चीजें हम कर चुके हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें अभी हमें करनी है। प्लास्टिक बैन जब हमने अपने गांव में किया था तो वो देख करके आसपास के लोग भी बहुत अवेयर हुए हैं और अभी राजपुर में डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्लास्टिक कलेक्शन सेंटर भी बनने वाला है। वो प्रोजेक्ट हमें मिल गया है, इलेक्शन के बाद में हम उस प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करेंगे और हम अपने गांव के साथ साथ हम आसपास के लोगों को भी बहुत मोटिवेट करेंगे कि वो इसमें हमारी बात समझे और इस तरह से वो भी करें। सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक के लिए आप नो बोलिए, मुझे लगता है यही सोल्यूशन है सैनिटेशन के लिए।
थैंक यू प्रियंका जी, इट वाज सो एक्साइटिंग टू लिसन टू यू। बहुत अच्छा लगा। आपने जो 5-6 पॉइंट जो मैंने मेन देखा, जो मैंने मेन ऑब्जर्व, व्हाट आई ऑब्जर्व्ड इज दैट 2-3 things that I observed in what you said. First of all, I am clearly seeing that Gram Panchayats are slowly becoming responsible for water and sanitation in their Gram Panchayats, in their areas. अभी तक क्या होता था, ज्यादातर पब्लिक एरियाज, रूरल एरियाज में खास करके ये फीलिंग थी कि वाटर सैनिटेशन इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ गवर्नमेंट। गवर्नमेंट करेगी जो करेगी, हम क्या करें, गवर्नमेंट आके लगाएगी। बट आई थिंक ये SBM में और जल जीवन मिशन में भी ये सिचुएशन बदल रहा है, इट्स चेंजिंग एंड ग्राम पंचायत्स आर स्लोली बिकमिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द सैनिटेशन सर्विसेज दैट दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग। दैट इज पॉइंट 1। आई विल कम टू यू प्रियंका जी, मैं आऊंगा आपके पास वापस। दूसरा पॉइंट मैं कहना चाहूंगा, आपने मेंशन किया एजुकेशन स्कीम को, which I think it is critical that we need to educate our children, and that is a very big kind of understand what we learn from what we are saying. The third point is that you are saying continued exposure and reaching out to the community. Community involvement is critical. Community का जब तक हम involve नहीं करेंगे तब तक कोई भी चीज मतलब ऐसा चीज जो कम्युनिटी को इफेक्ट करती है वो कभी भी सक्सेसफुली ऑपरेट परमानेंटली सस्टेनेबली नहीं हो सकता। चौथा चीज आपने कहा कि ग्राम पंचायत नीड सपोर्ट, दिस इज क्रिटिकल। जल जीवन मिशन में कॉन्सेप्ट आया है ISA का, सपोर्ट एजेंसी। स्वच्छ भारत मिशन में उतना नहीं है और मेरे ख्याल में ये बहुत बड़ा अंडरस्टैंडिंग और आपने पॉइंट आउट किया कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स विल हैव टू सी हाउ दे कैन प्रोवाइड सपोर्ट टू एवरी ग्राम पंचायत टू प्लान, एक विलेज सैनिटेशन प्लान बनाए, वो भी पार्टिसिपेटिव मेथड में बनाए, ताकि जो प्लान बन रहा, आपने प्रियंका जी एक चीज कहा कि प्लान नीचे पहुंचे, मेरा कहना है प्लान नीचे पहुंचे नहीं, प्लान नीचे बने, प्लान बने लोगों के इन्वॉल्वमेंट के साथ और वो प्लान अप्रूव हो ऊपर में, तभी जाके लोगों की, जैसे आप कह रहे हैं और अर्लियर स्पीकर्स अभी हम लोग सुन रहे थे, प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी कर्नाटका बोल रहे थे, कर्नाटका में सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम इज कमिंग दैट द वाटर इज फ्लोइंग इन ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन, जैसे आपने कहा ड्रेन में इट्स गेटिंग क्लॉग्ड। तो पूरा स्ट्रक्चर ही गलत बना। सो जब तक लोगों की इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होगा प्लानिंग में, ऐसे गलतियां कॉन्ट्रैक्टर करेगा, और ये एक मेजर इशू है। प्रियंका जी, मैं आपके पास आऊंगा वापस सेकेंड राउंड में, मगर मैं बाकी स्पीकर्स को भी एक बार प्लीज इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा। I will want to invite right now Mr. Ayush Prasad, CEO Zilla Panchayat, Pune. Prasad ji, Ayush ji, you are implementing the SBM program in your district, and successfully. Pune is one of the highlight districts which is doing excellent work. You heard Priyanka ji speaking about the problems and the issues that they are facing at the village level, at the GP level. And you also heard the Ministry of Panchayati Raj Joint Secretary and Director Jal Shakti is what is the national vision. So my question is, what is your experience in working at the field, district level, and what are the innovations and learnings that you have in Pune, and trying to look at the issues which has been just now spoken to by Priyanka ji. Ayush ji, over to you.
थैंक यू मजुमदार साहब, थैंक यू प्रियंका जी, आपने बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से समझाया। मेरे आधे विषय तो आपने ऑलरेडी उठा लिए हैं, बट मैं फिर भी 4 चीजें बताना चाहूंगा फील्ड लेवल के एक्सपीरियंसेस जो हैं। The first thing that I want to highlight is with regard to sustaining ODF. Sustaining ODF, I think, is a massive challenge before all the district level authorities. One of the things is building toilets are easy, ensuring that that toilet gets water supply every day for its proper usage, gets the cleaning facilities that it requires for proper usage, becomes a massive challenge. So one of the methods that we have worked towards trying to sustain ODF is we have tried to mobilize self-help groups to empty out the soak pits. Now there are 2 advantages to that. One is that there is some fund flow that takes place and continued incentive for the use of toilets. So the soak pit manure that comes out, there's a market value to it. It is a very good organic manure and a very good carbon fertilizer, and so that is one thing that we have experimented at certain locations, 2 locations in my district and in another district where I was previously posted, and this creates a sustained interest in trying to sustained interest in trying to encourage people to use toilets. Second thing, with regard to group toilets, what we have done is we have reserved the most important place in markets or near bus stands or near on sides of roads, because these toilets are earning more money as advertisement revenues. The walls of these toilets earn more money as advertisement revenues rather than the 1 or 2 rupees that we get from the use of toilets. So this is a second thing that we have done, and since in certain locations payment capacity is more, we have in fact increased the prices. So currently we have constructed over 527 toilets in the district, and this has become a good movement. And now there is demand to construct toilets in schools also, and which is also we are trying to promote. But schools funding model in sustenance would be a little different. So this is something that we are working towards as far as group toilets are concerned. Now, when it comes to plastic waste and solid waste management, now the difference in SBM Part 1 was, and this is that was an individual effort. So you are funding about 12,000 rupees to a particular individual household to basically construct toilets. In this is a group effort. A Gram Panchayat is supposed to do. That was a one-time effort. This is a sustained effort. On an everyday basis, you're required to pick up waste, and वो कचरा हमको daily उठाना है. So in Maharashtra, at least, we have drawn heavily from the Swachh Maharashtra Abhiyan that was done in municipal corporations and municipal councils. And second thing is, Priyanka ji spoke about banning single-use plastic. So in Maharashtra, government of Maharashtra had taken out a government resolution or a government order in which 5,000 rupees fine was imposed on the use of single-use plastics. So we have implemented this very, very strictly. But the problem that comes is, ग्राम पंचायत की जवाबदारी रहती है कि आप इस तरह के रूल्स को इंप्लीमेंट करें. और ग्राम पंचायत में क्या होता है कि अगर आप इस तरह से 5-5 हजार रुपए का फाइन अगर करते हैं, तो लोकल बॉडी में जिन लोगों ने आपको चुन के दिया है, जिन लोगों ने प्रधान जी को या सरपंच को चुन के दिया है, उनसे अगर उस सरपंच को, प्रधान जी को अगर फाइन वसूल करना है, तो बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज हो जाता है. तो ये एक बड़ा इशू हमको मिलता है. तो हमने डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल टीम्स और तालुका लेवल टीम्स, ब्लॉक लेवल टीम्स को हमने गाँव में भेज के, स्पेशली दुकानों में जो लोग फाइन्स, मतलब जो लोग बेच रहे हैं या उस प्रकार से दे रहे हैं, उनको हमने दिया. और इसमें ऑलमोस्ट 20 लाख रुपए फाइन्स ही जमा हो चुकी हैं. एंड दिस हैज रियली हेल्प्ड इन डूइंग इट. हमारा एक नया प्रोजेक्ट सर अभी कुछ दिनों में आगे आने वाला है, जिसका नाम है हमारा महावसुंधरा. एक ई मार्केट है, एक बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र ने इसको स्पॉन्सर किया है. इस ई मार्केट में जो बल्क वेस्ट जनरेटर्स हैं और ग्राम पंचायत हैं, जिसमें 27 प्रकार के रिकवर्ड रिसोर्स, जो ड्राई वेस्ट में जो 27 टाइप्स ऑफ रिकवर्ड रिसोर्सेस हैं उसको बेचने के लिए ई मार्केट रहेगा। और ऑर्गेनिक जो वेट वेस्ट है उसको प्रोसेस करके, जिसमें कंपोस्टिंग हो सकता है, स्लरी हो सकता है, एज वेल एज कंप्रेस्ड बायोगैस हो सकता है, इसको बेचने के लिए हमने ये ई मार्केट हम बहुत ही जल्दी अनदर 1 वीक में इनफैक्ट हम लॉन्च करने वाले हैं। इस ई मार्केट का एक ब्यूटी ये रहेगा कि एक मार्केट प्लेस क्रिएट हो जाएगा। ग्राम पंचायत के पास जितना वेस्ट रहता है वो एक सस्टेनेबल एक इंडस्ट्री जो इनको यूज करेगी फॉर एनी पर्पस, रिसाइकलिंग पर्पस के लिए, एनर्जी पर्पस के लिए अगर इंडस्ट्री यूज करती है तो ग्राम पंचायत, बड़े से बड़े ग्राम पंचायत के पास वो लेवल ऑफ सेग्रीगेटेड वेस्ट नहीं रहता है। तो आवर एम इसकी वेस्ट फ्री अगर महाराष्ट्र करना है, वेस्ट फ्री पुणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट करना है, तो उसके लिए वी आर ट्राइंग टू इंश्योर दैट सेग्रीगेटेड वेस्ट के लिए हम एक मार्केट प्लेस क्रिएट करके दें। और एक ई मार्केट हमने क्रिएट किया है। और ई मार्केट में बहुत सारे इश्यूज हैं जो मैं एक इशू अभी हाईलाइट करना चाहूंगा कि जीएसटी एग्जेम्पशन नहीं है। तो लेट्स से कि अगर कोई आदमी, अगर मैं पुराने मैट्रेस से स्प्रिंग निकाल के बेचना चाहता हूँ प्रोसेस्ड वेस्ट में से, और अगर कोई नया स्प्रिंग को बेचना चाहता है, तो दोनों को एक ही लेवल ऑफ जीएसटी लगेगा जो स्टील प्रोडक्ट्स पे लगता है। तो इसमें मेरी भारत सरकार के वरिष्ठ अधिकारियों से विनती रहेगी कि जीएसटी एग्जेम्पशन, अगर रिकवर्ड रिसोर्स से हम जीएसटी एग्जेम्पशन दे पाए तो ये कंपेटिटिव मार्केट में कंपेटिटिव हो जाएगा, क्योंकि इसको एक अच्छा रॉ मटेरियल के तरफ है। एंड सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी जिसके बारे में हम बात करते हैं उस टाइप से हम कर पाएंगे। Sir, Pune is the only district in Maharashtra that has given work orders in about 1100 projects for Gram Panchayats with regard to solid waste management. So what we had done was we had created 7 type plans for work orders for solid waste management, and we had provided technical support through a technical support agencies. We had recruited 50 junior engineers. Each Zilla Parishad, जो each Parshad Gut है, उसके लिए we had recruited one junior engineer and appointed them for doing solid waste management related activities. And we have managed to give work orders. Land is an issue because nobody wants a waste processing unit near to their homes. So that is a major challenge. So in around 439 Gram Panchayats, we are facing that challenge currently, but we are working very hard to overcome this challenge. But overall, our solid waste management plans are going on properly. With regard to the capital efforts, capital requirements, with regard to 15th Finance Commission convergence ho, या SBM का grant हो, and all of those things are going on. But we are going to face a massive challenge because ये सारे activities labor intensive activity है। घर to घर हमको daily जाना है, roads को हमको daily sweep करना है। ग्राम पंचायत do not have the funds or the available revenue funds because 15th Finance Commission, apart from the administrative head, is a capital expenditure fund. तो जो revenue fund जो है recurring expenditure के लिए, उसके लिए funds available नहीं है। तो हमने अभी इसके लिए मनरेगा एंड EGS, हमारा जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी स्कीम है, उसके अंतर्गत हमने एक प्रपोजल बनाया है। आई होप वो महाराष्ट्र सरकार और भारत सरकार उसको एक्सेप्ट करेगी। लास्ट चीज जो मैं बताना चाहता हूँ, हमारा सोक पिट को लेके जो हमारा जो स्लज मैनेजमेंट को लेके जो हमारा अभी हमने प्रोग्राम लिया है, दैट इज टू डू विद सोक पिट्स। वी आर currently constructing 26,000 soak pits are under construction as on today. आज के दिन में 4 से 5 दिन जो लगता है soak pits, 5 दिन जो लगता है soak pit construction के लिए, उसमें 26,000 soak pits आज बन रहे हैं। इसमें हमारा इस साल का टारगेट है बाय एंड ऑफ मार्च अबाउट 1,92,000 soak pits हम बनाने वाले। इसमें हमको नाना पाटेकर जी एक फिल्म अभिनेता है, उनकी एक फाउंडेशन है नाम फाउंडेशन, तो वो उसकी मटेरियल अराउंड 1400 रुपीज की मटेरियल आती है, तो वो लोग अराउंड 5.5 करोड़ रुपए की मटेरियल उन्होंने स्पॉन्सर किया, और इस तरह के अदर फाउंडेशंस भी स्पॉन्सर कर रही है। तो मनरेगा में जो पहले लोगों को आगे फंड्स खर्च करके मटेरियल खरीदी करके उसके बाद उनको पेमेंट्स मिलता था, इस चैलेंज को ओवरकम करने के लिए हमने ये मिशन उठाया है। सोक पिट्स हमारा पहला टारगेट है। सेकंड टारगेट में जो बड़ी ग्राम पंचायत है, महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने एक नमामि चंद्रभागा करके एक प्रोग्राम जाहिर किया है, जिसमें पुणे जिला के 5 बड़े ग्राम पंचायतों को लिया गया है, जहां पर हम एसटीपी प्लांट्स हम लगाने वाले हैं। एसटीपी प्लांट में एक बड़ा चैलेंज जो हमारे सामने है कि उसका रनिंग कॉस्ट जो है पर हाउस होल्ड पर ईयर अराउंड 1412 रुपए के आसपास आ रहा है। तो आज के डेट में महाराष्ट्र सरकार जो SLWM के लिए जो सेस अलाउ करती है, ग्राम पंचायत से प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स में अतिरिक्त सेस जो अलाउ करती है, दैट इज अबाउट 50 रुपीज। तो अभी ड्राफ्ट नोटिफिकेशन महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने निकाली है, जिसके अंतर्गत 500 रुपए तक हम सेक्शन 124 में बदल करके 500 रुपए तक हम ले पाएंगे। बट फिर भी ओनली एसटीपी चलाने का जो एनर्जी, मेम्ब्रेन कॉस्ट एंड मैन पावर कॉस्ट है, वो 1412 रुपए एज पर प्रोजेक्टेड आ रहा है। तो इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम्स हमारे सामने हैं, बट कैपिटल वर्क्स के तौर पे पुणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में सर वी आर वर्किंग क्वाइट हार्ड एंड वी आर होपिंग टू एंश्योर गार्बेज फ्री पुणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट एज पर द विजन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र।
Thank you, Ayushji. Thank you. I mean, so I was looking at a few feedback which is in the box, which I just go through one, which I think you will be interested in. It is it is written by Mr. Korean Varghese and says Mr. Ayush Prasad has been trying out a lot of excellent innovative schemes. I remember spending one day with him here in Akola. So thanks for this. And Ayushji, two things which I caught out from you. I mean, you spoke on quite a lot of points, but two I'll highlight. One is thanks for the 1100 SLWM projects, because we are observing that SLWM projects are being made across India, but getting them sanctioned is getting to a problem. Somehow it's getting stuck in a kind of bureaucratic kind of sanctioning process. And the fact that you have got 1100 done is a big achievement. Thanks. And we hope to see that contracted and implemented. That's critical. You also spoke about grey water management, which, as you heard from Priyanka ji, also was a major thing, and also was in the earlier morning session. Grey water is a major problem, and I think, see, what we know, drains have been built under Manrega. Drains have been built under when they've constructed cement concrete kind of roads. Drains have been built, but at that time the focus was on the road and not the drain. So the alignment of the drain is a big problem, and that is a thing that we really have to look at, and you are looking at that. You also spoke about engaging NGOs in Maharashtra for the SBM program, which is critical. And that is a thing which other states need to look at. So thank you, but I will come back with if you're available, please stay online. I'll come back with another question. But before I go to Assam state, because Mr. Kushwant Singh Sethi has to go to another call, Sir JS Panchayati Raj, I'll go to your second question, sir. Sir, to be able to implement the sanitation program, there is a need to help the PRIs. As you have heard from Madam in UP and now Ayushji from Maharashtra, Panchayati Raj ko support dena padega. Now, how does the Ministry of Panchayati Raj aim to strengthen panchayat capacities? हम सिर्फ water sanitation की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. General पंचायत को जो capacity strengthen करना है. How do you plan to do it, and what is the plan of the MOPR in this to improve service delivery? Sir.
The Ministry of Panchayati Raj has a very comprehensive capacity building program. In fact, our flagship scheme of this of RGSA, Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, focusing is on building capacities of the panchayats primarily. So here there are two kinds of specific targets that the ministry takes up under the capacity building program. One is, of course, the elected representatives of the panchayats. The total about 31 lakh elected representatives of panchayats, and in different parts of the country, the elections, panchayat elections, are held at different times. So there is always new elected representatives of panchayats coming in constantly. And when the new elected representatives of panchayats come in, they are not aware of the responsibilities of the panchayats, the mandate of the panchayat, how to look at what are the different schemes of the government of India that are available, and the host of all other problems. So they're totally unaware. So we have, for the elected representatives of panchayats, two types of programs, training capacity building programs. The first is, of course, the basic or the foundation course. So when the elected representatives are elected, soon after the election, within 6 months, the basic or the foundation training is given to them. And this covers all the basic functions that the elected panchayats are required to discharge. And also they're told about the different schemes of the government from which the various funds can be accessed for different interventions. And the funds that go automatically to the panchayats, like the Finance Commission grants, the Central Finance Commission grants, or the State Finance Commission grants, or the own sources of revenue that are generated by the panchayat. So how can they be best used and leveraged? All these are covered, including the subjects of sanitation, water, education, health. So these are all subjects of national importance. Nutrition. So these are all subjects of national importance that are adequately covered in such training. Then subsequently, after 2 years, they are again given a refresher training course, because in the interim, new schemes would have come or several changes would have taken place. So the refresher training program is given to the panchayats, to the elected representatives of the panchayats, and also the other target is specifically the officials, the panchayat officials that are required to discharge their responsibilities of the panchayats while working shoulder to shoulder with the elected representatives. There are specific training programs that are targeted to them regarding their functions and regarding building their capacities, so that together it would ensure that the panchayats are able to discharge their responsibilities in an effective manner. Apart from this, if you're looking specifically at the subject of sanitation and water, recently the ministry recognizing the high importance associated with these two sectors has worked very closely with the UNICEF and with the NIDPR to put together a detailed document on service level benchmarks and on model contracts that would be greatly useful to the panchayats in discharging their mandated functions in the areas of sanitation as well as water. So I talked about service level benchmarks because it is first important for the panchayats to know at what level they are required to deliver these basic services. For example, in terms of water, how much water they should know that how much water is required for the keeping in view the population in their village, and whether the water should be given to the panchayat, to the rural citizens once in a day or twice a day or whatever. So all these things are codified in the service level benchmarks. The Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation too has incorporated some of these service level benchmarks in their very schemes, both for Swachh Bharat Mission as well as for Jal Jeevan Mission. These service level benchmarks have already been included in that. And also to allow the panchayats to take up contracts wherever they are so required for the maintenance of these services in these two sectors. Several types of model contracts have been drawn up, and these have been included in a document. The document has been shared with the NIDPR, and NIDPR has specifically made training modules out of those and shared with all the states, so that these are incorporated into the training programs of the panchayat. So these are the various measures taken by the ministry as far as capacity building of the panchayats is concerned. In addition, of course, we are also working now with the Skill Development Ministry to ensure that within the rural areas, the skills that are required for both these sectors, for water as well as sanitation, are available in the villages only, so that, for example, if a pump operator is required who can also do a little bit of plumbing work, so this the rural youth may be imparted these skills, so that the infrastructure that is built under the schemes can be maintained using the locally available manpower. So that will ensure that such skilled manpower is available in the village 24 hours. Otherwise, normally what happens is, suppose such plumbers are coming in from neighboring villages or from the town areas, and if that skill set is not available in the village, so they will only be available in the village for a limited period of time. But if there is a local plumber or local operator who can do all these small tasks, then the person is available through around the clock within the village premises. So these are all the initiatives that have been taken by the ministry in the recent past on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the description. Sir, आपके points से 3-4 points मैं highlight करना चाहूँगा जो आपने बहुत important निकाली है, sir. First of all, जो पंचायत की ओरिएंटेशन वाला इनिशियल ट्रेनिंग है और जो 2 साल बाद ट्रेनिंग है, those are very critical, sir. And what is really needed, and you are going to ensure that, is that JJM और SBM का जो new initiatives है और न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज है, न्यू आइडियाज है, और द फैक्ट दैट पंचायत को उसको ओन करना है, ये अगर हर स्टेट का ट्रेनिंग में रियली इन्वॉल्व आई मीन इंक्लूड हो जाए, दैट विल रियली हेल्प द पंचायत इन प्लानिंग आउट. जो प्रियंका जी ने पहले कहा, आई थिंक द इनिशियल कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग विल बी एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी अप टू डेट with the new SBM and the JJM initiatives. Two other points which are very, I wish to appreciate what the Minister of Panchayati Raj has done, sir. I want to convey my appreciation. Service level benchmarking for water and sanitation does not exist in rural areas. Urban में तो है. Urban में कितना घंटा पानी जाएगा, क्या क्वालिटी का जाएगा, कितने एलपीसीडी जाएगा, कैसे कम्युनिटी लेट्रिन मेंटेन होगा, वो अर्बन ने बेंचमार्किंग करके रखा है. रूरल बेंचमार्किंग अभी अवेलेबल नहीं है. एंड आई थिंक आपने जो इनिशिएटिव लिया है कि एनआईआरडी पीआर के मैनुअल्स में टू पुट इन बेंचमार्क, बिकॉज जब तक पंचायत को खुद ही नहीं मालूम कि उसको बेंचमार्क क्या है, वो कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करे. सो दैट इज अ वेरी क्रिटिकल थिंग. एंड द पॉइंट यू मेंशन्ड अबाउट ब्रिंगिंग प्रोफेशनल कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग, आई मीन अगर हमको सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम चलाना है, दिस हैज टू बी डन इन अ प्रोफेशनल वे. इट कैन नॉट बी कि किसी को भी ले लिया और उस बोल तुम झाड़ू मार दो. So professionalization of water and sanitation services is very critical. And the fact that the Panchayati Raj Ministry has picked this up and NIRD has also included it in their training modules, our next job will be to ensure that SIRD is included, sir. Include it, और वो ट्रेनिंग में ensure करे कि पंचायत को वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मॉडल दे कि भैया ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सिस्टम्स है, whether it's a labor contract, whether it's an overall turnkey contract, that can be included. So thank you for that, sir. I think you have highlighted that very important point. Going on, sir, if you can come back after your conversation, you'll be extremely welcome, sir. We will close at 6:30, but we'll be happy to get you back, sir, after your call. Thank you. We now move to state level, and from Assam, we have Engineer Partha Pratim Baruah, who is the coordinator of state Assam for the SBM program. Mr. Baruah, thank you for attending this session. As you know, one of the issues that we have seen in India, that we face plenty of disasters. We face floods. Assam, I mean, in Maharashtra, you face droughts. Bombay also, of course, Bombay faces floods also nowadays. But across India, with the entire climate change issue, what kind of disasters is going to come, we really can't anticipate. Assam, khas karke, you have problems of accessibility. You have hills and you have plains. You have problems of floods of many parts of Assam every year. So what has been the response of the PRIs along with the SBM program, focusing on convergence of funds and resources so that SBM is implemented successfully? Over to you, Mr. Baruah.
I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my views in this platform. Sir, actually, Assam is geographically diverse state, and it has hills, lowlands, flood-prone areas, and areas inaccessible by roads. So monsoon is a hard time to tackle. So from April to September, we got the monsoon. During that time, we do have problems for foundation works, for digging pits, and for doing foundation in the areas. And again, sir, in hills, our hilly terrains or regions offer challenge for carrying of materials to the site. So that is another problem. And for our state has people belonging to different ethnic groups, different culture, different religions, language, and habits, sir. So we do have developed different plans for different regions. And regarding convergence, sir, at state level, we are doing a series of convergence meeting at different level, in ministry level also, in administrative or government level also, again in state level and district level. We have constituted at different committees to resolve any issues relating to this utilization of 15 finance tied fund and And many policy and frameworks we have developed, modalities we have developed, SOPs developed to decide between the two departments, mainly PNRD and PHE, for effective implementation of the program, sir. Overcoming all these issues, Assam has a functional and PRI system, and it is running well and is running efficiently. So we are hopeful that we can achieve our goal. And in general areas, sir, we have some 6 schedule areas also. But in general areas, the PRI implementation system is running properly. But for the 6 schedule area, mainly in Dima Hasao Autonomous Council and in Boruland Autonomous Council and Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, more steps has to be taken by the government to bring them on board for implementation of this SBMG program, sir. So this is from my side, sir. Thank you.
या थैंक यू बरुआ साहब. एक्चुअली जैसे बरुआ साहब बता रहे हैं, आसाम जैसे स्टेट में जहाँ पे पहाड़ भी है, प्लेन्स भी हैं, फ्लड इफेक्टेड एरियाज है, और वहाँ पे हर जिले का स्टैंडिंग भी अलग है, क्योंकि उनका ऑटोनोमस एरियाज भी है जहाँ पे नॉर्मल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन डज नॉट वर्क. तो उनका मोडालिटीज तो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है कि स्टेट से प्रॉपर गाइडलाइंस और इंस्ट्रक्शंस जारी हो. डिस्ट्रिक्ट पे तो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटीज मेरे ख्याल में SBM 1 में मेरा जो अनुभव है, my experience is SBM 1 had a significant amount of success because at the field level, the collectors, CEOs, the SBM coordinators, block officers, panchayats, unko innovation, they could innovation, especially in behavior change, especially in kind of how to reach out to the population, how to go in campaign mode. That innovation was very successful. And that I think we'll have to really consider कि SBM second phase में कैसे वो innovations को भी incorporate करें and partnerships create करें. So before I go, we are already at 6 o'clock, almost 10 minutes. We'll just keep for one round more, 2 minutes each before we'll open it to questions. I will start with Madam from UP, Priyanka ji. Priyanka ji, 2 मिनट में छोड़, because हम लोग already 6 बजे पहुंच गए हैं. आपके bottlenecks क्या-क्या है? अभी जो आप face कर रहे हैं, what is the bottlenecks you are facing to implement SBMG2? And अगर आपको कुछ advice बोलना है administrators को, तो क्या होगा? 2 मिनट में, please, if you can say in short. Over to you, Priyanka ji.
सर, SBM फेज 2 जो है उसमें सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है लोगों को कन्विंस करना, उन तक वो मैसेज पहुंचाना जो हम चाहते हैं कि पानी वेस्ट ना करें, पानी बचाएं. वो मैसेज वहां तक पहुंचाना सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आता है, क्योंकि अगर मैं अपने राजपुर की बात करूं तो हमारे यहाँ पे 80%, 75 to 80% जो जनसंख्या है वो है लेबर की. तो लेबर को समझाना, क्योंकि उनका माइंडसेट बहुत डिफरेंट होता है. उन्हें अगर मैं सैनिटेशन या हाइजीन ये सारी चीजें समझाऊंगी तो वो उस चीज को प्रायोरिटी में नहीं लेंगे. तो उनकी इस चीज को रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस पे कैसे लाना है, ये इस पे थोड़ा सा हमें ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग करना पड़ेगा सब. और जैसे मैंने बताया कि हमने जो प्लास्टिक बैन किया था, तो उसके लिए भी हमें उनके साथ में थोड़ा डोमिनेट ना करते हुए उनको कन्विंस करने के लिए हमने एक छोटा सा मतलब प्लान किया था. कुछ वो ये प्लान था कि हमने जितनी भी प्लास्टिक कलेक्ट करवाई थी, हमने लोगों को कह दिया कि आप लोग अपने प्लास्टिक को डस्टबिन में डंप ना करें, आप उसे इकट्ठा करें, आप वो हमें दें और हमारे प्लास्टिक के बदले हमसे आप उसके पैसे ले लें. हमने 2 रुपए, 1 किलो प्लास्टिक के 2 रुपए उन्हें दिए, जिससे वो चीज कंट्रोल हो गई. तो ये एक आइडिया है, जैसे हमने प्लास्टिक के लिए हमने ये आइडिया इम्प्लीमेंट किया, ऐसे ही हम और भी चीजों के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. जैसे जो क्योंकि ग्राम पंचायत में गाय बहुत होती हैं, काउडंग्स बहुत होते हैं, तो उनको मैनेज करना भी बहुत टफ होता है, क्योंकि लोग हमेशा से जहां वो जो काउडंग्स रख रहे हैं वो जगह बदलना नहीं चाहते. उससे बहुत गंदगी होती है बारिश के टाइम में, या नालियों के पास में वो जो चीजें रख देते हैं वो पानी में लग करके, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया समरसेबल जो खुला छोड़ देते हैं, नालियों में पानी चलता रहता है, उसमें वो गोबर जाता है और नालियों में गंदगी होती है, कीचड़ होता है और बहुत अनहाइजीन माहौल क्रिएट हो जाता है। तो अगर हम वो चीज वहां से हटा दें तो वो जो सफाई है वो बाय डिफॉल्ट उनकी लाइफ में आ जाएगी, कि अगर वहां पे वो चीज नहीं है तो उनकी स्वच्छता में रहने की हैबिट आ जाएगी। हमने ये इम्प्लीमेंट किया और हमने ये सक्सेसफुली इस पे हमने पूरा अपना काम भी कर लिया। अब कोई भी ऐसा गोबर नहीं है जो नालियों के पास में या रोड के ऊपर रखा हुआ हो। तो अगर बारिश भी होता है सर तो हमें मैनेज करना, सफाई मैनेज करने में बहुत इजी हो जाता है। और प्लस जो सफाई कर्मचारी हैं हमारे यहाँ पे, तो अगर हम जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, ड्रेन में जो प्लास्टिक चला जाता है वो ब्लॉक होता है, उसको सफाई करने में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आती है क्योंकि ये सफाई कर्मचारी बहुत लिमिटेड होते हैं। तो हमने उसका सोल्यूशन एक निकाला है, वो अभी तक हम इम्प्लीमेंट कर नहीं पाए हैं, वो अब हम करेंगे जब इलेक्शन खत्म हो जाएगा उत्तर प्रदेश में, कि हम या तो एंड टू एंड पॉइंट्स पे जाली लगा दे, नेट लगा दे, तो वो जो कचरा है वो उससे पहले ही रुक जाया करेगा, वो अंदर जाया नहीं करेगा। इसका रीजन एक ये भी है क्योंकि जो ड्रेनेज सिस्टम है, जो पूरा ड्रेन है, उसके ऊपर हम कवर करने के लिए स्टोन के स्लैब लगा देते हैं जिससे वो नालियां ढकी रहे। पर उसके नीचे क्या हो रहा है उसको देखने में बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है। अकेला जो एम्प्लॉय है हमारा वो उसकी सफाई नहीं कर सकता है। तो अगर हम ये, अगर थोड़ा ये टफ है बट अगर हम प्लान करें इसको अच्छी तरीके से, तो या तो हम उस पूरे ड्रेनेज सिस्टम जो है उसके ऊपर हम जाली लगवा सकते हैं जिससे हम मॉनिटर कर पाए कहाँ पे कचरा है, कहाँ पे सफाई की जरूरत है। इससे लेबर कम हो जाएगा, सफाई बहुत एफिशिएंट रहेगी और ये लोगों की नॉर्मल प्रैक्टिस में भी आ जाएगा कि हाँ ठीक है, अगर यहाँ पे गंदगी है तो हम किसी ना किसी को या तो बुला के सफाई करवाएं, हम खुद वेस्ट होता है, जो कचरा होता है। ग्राम पंचायतों में क्या होता है सर कि अगर महिला घर साफ कर रही है तो वो कचरा डस्टबिन में डालने की बजाय वो सीधे नाली में डाल देती है। तो वो नाली में जाने के बाद वो जो ब्लॉक होता है वो साफ करना या मॉनिटर करना या उन्हें समझाना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो इसके लिए हमने एक छोटा सा मतलब हमारा एक आइडिया था कि हम घर घर जाके कचरा कलेक्ट करें। उसके लिए हमने उनसे ज्यादा नहीं, सिर्फ 1 रुपए प्रति माह मांगा है, ठीक है, नहीं 1 रुपए प्रतिदिन मांगा है, सॉरी, और वो महीने के 30 रुपए हो जाते हैं। जो हमने उनको ये बताया कि अगर आप प्लास्टिक अपने घर पे स्टोर करते हैं तो वो आपका प्लास्टिक अगर हमें देंगे तो वो भी हम आपको पैसे दे देंगे, जो 30 रुपए आप हमें दे रहे हैं वो आप वापस हमसे ले भी सकते हैं। तो नाली में जो कचरा जा रहा है वो वहां रुक गया, कम हो गया। प्लास्टिक जो इधर उधर उड़ के गंदगी कर रहे थे, कचरा फैला रहे थे, ब्लॉक कर रहे थे, गंदगी थी, जो सबसे बड़ी गंदगी का रीजन थे, वो दोनों चीजें हमने एक आइडिया के साथ में वहीं पे रोक दिया है। सर हमारे बहुत सारे प्लान्स अभी भी हैं जो हम इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाह रहे हैं, हमारे प्लान में है, और जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हमें मिले हैं उसके थ्रू SBM टीम के साथ में मिलके हम ये सारी चीजें इम्प्लीमेंट करने वाले हैं। अब रही बात पानी की, पीने के पानी की, क्योंकि उत्तर प्रदेश एक एग्रीकल्चरल स्टेट है, जो राजपुर है, राजपुर खुद एक एग्रीकल्चरल विलेज है, और वहां पे बहुत सारा इंसेक्टिसाइड और पेस्टिसाइड यूज किया जाता है खेती के दौरान, जिसके कारण पानी का जो लेवल है वो लेवल नहीं, मतलब क्वालिटी जो है वो खराब हो रही है। तो हम हर 3 से 5 महीने के बीच में हम जो वाटर क्वालिटी है वो चेक करवाते हैं, प्लस सॉइल क्वालिटी भी चेक करवाते हैं कि हमारा सॉइल कितना पल्यूट हो गया है और वाटर क्वालिटी हम कितना डैमेज कर चुके हैं अभी तक। इसके सोल्यूशन में सर हम RO प्लांट लगवाने वाले हैं, जिसको हम लोगों के बीच में 20 लीटर प्रति 5 रुपए पे देंगे, 5 रुपए प्रति 20 लीटर पे देंगे हर घर को। इससे उनकी हैबिट डेवलप होगी अच्छा पानी पीने की, स्वच्छ पानी पीने की। और मीनवाइल हम जो और भी प्रोग्राम्स हैं या प्लानिंग है जो हम उनके, मैंने जैसा बताया आपको, बिहेवियर चेंज करवाने की ज्यादा जरूरत है। जैसे ही वो चेंज हो जाएगी सर, सारा मैटर में ही सॉल्व हो जाएगा। तो ये सारी चीजें हम कर चुके हैं और कुछ चीजें अभी हम कर रहे हैं। एक चीज और है, जो नालियां बनती हैं, जो काम होता है SLWM का, इन सब के पेमेंट को लेकर के मेरी कुछ प्रधानों से बात हुई थी। पेमेंट को लेकर के काफी प्रॉब्लम आती है कि पेमेंट टाइम पे नहीं हो पाता है। तो एक ये प्रॉब्लम है, मतलब सभी की तरफ से ये एक प्रॉब्लम है। दूसरी चीज जो इसमें काम किया जाता है, जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि वाटर फ्लो डाउनवर्ड्स है, बट पानी जो नाली का है वो ऊपर की तरफ जा रहा है, जो ग्रे वाटर है ऊपर की तरफ जा रहा है। बट इसके लिए ये रिस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कौन है? अगर वो कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है या कोई भी एक पर्सन है जो उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले, जो मॉनिटर करे, पूरा टीम करती है, बट टीम हमें सिर्फ सजेस्ट कर सकती है कि आप ऐसे करिए, आप इस चीज को कहाँ क्या गलतियां हैं, क्या सही, वो हमें बता सकती हैं। बट जो हमारे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर होते हैं, जो मिस्टेक वो कर देते हैं, उस मिस्टेक को कर देने के बाद सर रेक्टिफाई करना बहुत ज्यादा टफ हो जाता है। या तो हम उसे सही डायरेक्शन में प्लानिंग प्लॉटिंग के साथ करें, और या तो अगर वो खराब हो गया है तो हमें उसी के साथ या तो एडजस्ट करना पड़ता है या मैनेज करें, या जो भी उसका सोल्यूशन निकालना होता है, तो ये बहुत टाइम टेकिंग हो जाता है। तो रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि ये जो भी काम कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए कोई भी एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन हो जिसकी जवाबदेही हो कि हाँ अगर ये ऐसा काम हुआ है तो क्यों हुआ है। ये मेरा एक सजेशन था। तो सर आई थिंक
थैंक यू प्रियंका जी। आई थिंक
ये
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा, मतलब आपने प्रैक्टिकल पॉइंट्स बताई है फील्ड में, क्योंकि आप रोज कर रही हैं। 3 पॉइंट मैंने आपके यहाँ से उठाया। पहले तो जो आपने एक चीज बताया था, एक तो प्लास्टिक वेस्ट में आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है। मैं अभी मिनिस्ट्री के ऑफिसर से भी पूछूंगा इस बारे में, क्योंकि वही प्लास्टिक वेस्ट डील करते हैं। लेकिन आपके लिए प्रियंका जी दो तीन चीजें। पहले तो आपने ये भी बोला था पहले कि टू गिव अवार्ड टू गुड, अच्छा पंचायत से अच्छा काम के लिए अवार्ड करें, जो गलत कर रहे हैं उनको फाइन करें, पंचायत फाइन करने और राशि कलेक्ट करने, यूजर चार्जेस कलेक्ट करने की कोशिश करें। ये इनिशिएटिव्स करना बहुत जरूरी है। प्लानिंग ऑब्वियसली जो भी काम हो, ड्रेन हो, कुछ भी हो, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर कर रहा है, उसमें पंचायत या पंचायत की रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स के इन्वॉल्वमेंट की जरूरी है। जब तक वो नहीं होगा, क्वालिटी कहाँ बन रहा है, कैसे बन रहा है, क्वालिटी फॉलो हो रहा है कि नहीं, ये करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा। दैट इज व्हाट ये पूरा कॉन्क्लेव ही उस दिशा में मूव कर रहा है कि हम वो व्यवस्था के लिए इंसिस्ट करें स्टेट्स को, डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को, कि ये पार्टिसिपेशन जरूरी है प्लानिंग स्टेज में। सो मैं आपके पॉइंट्स को उठाते हुए, मैं मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति के डायरेक्टर चौधरी साहब, चौधरी जी, आपने प्रियंका जी को सुना, एंड शी स्पोक अबाउट प्लास्टिक वेस्ट। उन्होंने प्लास्टिक वेस्ट में बहुत अच्छा काम किया भी है, और आप भी प्लास्टिक वेस्ट ही देखते हैं मिनिस्ट्री में। तो आपके विजन में मिनिस्ट्री के इसको एक्सेलरेट कैसे करें, एंटायर एसबीएम जी को, प्लास्टिक वेस्ट को और अन्य वर्टिकल्स को, एंड आपके ओर से मिनिस्ट्री की ओर से देश को क्या सूचना है कि अगर वो संपूर्ण स्वच्छता अचीव करना चाहे तो किस दिशा में वो मूव करें, और मिनिस्ट्री कैसे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के माध्यम से उनको मदद कर सकती है। ओवर टू यू कपिल जी।
थैंक यू सुजॉय जी। मैं इस संदर्भ में फर्स्ट थिंग व्हिच आई लाइक टू से, ये मिशन इज ऑलवेज बीन अ पीपल लेड. What we have got a success in the phase 1 was that the Jan Andolan, the concept of Jan Andolan was the reason behind the success of the phase 1. Now when we are coming to phase 2, so even this Jan Andolan becomes again a very crucial point and important implementation, because with the waste management, with the emphasis on the solid and liquid waste management, now we are reaching more closer to the home. So the participation of people becomes more important. Now for this, what this ministry envisions is the implementation to the local self-government, especially the Panchayati Raj institutions. So no, because these Panchayati Raj institutions are in touch with the local peoples, and they know the best what is the solution to their solid and liquid waste management problems. Now, as to regarding this, as you are aware, that the one planning is the most important point of implementation of the SLW. The first thing is you should have the more focused plan. Now, as what I have told earlier, under the convergence scheme, under the 15 Finance Commission, and what the Panchayati Raj institution has to implement, they have to make a one Gram Panchayat development plan. Under this GPDP plan, while they are making in that particular financial year or at the start of the year, they have to plan all the things year-wise, making a target of what they are going to do in next 3 to 4 years. So for that, they must know how to achieve the status of ODF plus. What makes a village ODF plus? If they are aware that these are the elements to be implemented, accordingly to those elements, they have to incorporate in their Gram Panchayat development plan the activity and the source of funding, how they will be executing. Once it becomes a part of Gram Panchayat development plan, then you can implement those activities and you know how these activities will come up in next 3 to 4 years. So this is the one critical point of implementation. And before that Gram Panchayat development plan, as you told earlier, village sanitation plan is also very crucial. Because once, if you are going to implement these activities just in a very, not a planned way, then this will not end up in the objective what this mission is seeking from in the rural areas. The first thing is you should have a good plan, and while preparing the plan, obviously then you will seek the fund from where these activities will be funded. Then come the convergence. So you know, if I'm implementing such X activity, then I have to fund it from the SBMG. If I'm implementing this activity, I have to fund it from the 15 finance. And because already the sir has told the 15 finance under the 15 finance, already the rural areas are being provided 30% of the money under the tide grant for sanitation only. So this is a very crucial point that the Panchayati Raj institution should have a detailed knowledge as to how they will implementing how they will achieving the status of ODF plus. Unless until they will not go through all the detailed guidelines while preparing this plan, this will not help in making achieving the objective of this mission phase 2. So for this also, time to time, this ministry has been issuing a guideline. As the Pradhan from Madam from the Hathras, she was saying that she wanted technical support. So already this ministry has catered that the 10% of the 15 finance money under 15 finance can be used for the technical support. So I think the district also should come into action and they should help the Gram Panchayat to be aware of all the rules and regulations. So this is a more critical point. I think what we have seen in the last 1.5 years, that the technical support and planning is the crucial point. Now, as far as the plastic, so already we have been in the various interactions, and then in the various capacity building programs, we have been retreating many times. And also we have issued some toolkits also to help the Gram Panchayats implement the plastic waste management. In this, which we have told that that plastic waste management unit is the most critical point for managing the plastic waste, because then you should have one material recovery facility from which will help you in managing the plastic waste. So the plastic which is being generated at the village level will be going to that material recovery facility or that plastic waste management unit. And from the plastic waste management unit, there you can plan the forward linkage of plastic from that unit. Either you will be selling to the recyclers, or you will giving it to any civil unit, PWD for road construction. Even it can be sent to the cement factories. So that is regarding the plastic waste management. And for the message regarding these ministries, which I want to say is that we congratulate earlier that the country for their involvement and the contribution in SBMG, and this mission is well and truly an example of what the people of country can do when they put their mind into it. And the department remains committed to the mission and citizens in every way to support this, achieve this Sampur Siddharth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kapil ji. 2-3 things that you said I want to highlight. One thing which is new for me also. One thing you said, Jana Andolan, absolutely. There has to be participation, Jan Andolan, and that is what we are trying to create also. You also spoke about the village sanitation plan that has to be made. Absolutely, participative manner में plan, बिना plan का काम नहीं हो सकता. There has to be a plan, and that has to be a plan which is involving people who know the work, those who are aware of the work, as well as the local community. दोनों की combination से plan has to be made, that has to, and the combined plan. And to do this, there has to be institutional strengthening of the district level, SBM. कि हर district में there has to be people in the district who can handhold the gram panchayats to make those plans, to make the village sanitation plan, to make the DPR, whether it is for plastic waste or grey water or fecal sludge or retrofitting or for bio waste. So, wo capacity has to be there in the district. And you will be happy to know for all the participants here today that here UNICEF is also working with the Ministry of Jal Shakti and with the state governments to build capacities of the SBM department at district level. तो एक बहुत बड़ा कैंपेन 2 साल पहले भी हुआ था स्वच्छ सुजल गांव. ये कैंपेन फिर से अभी स्टार्ट होने वाला है. हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, हर स्टेट में 5 से 6 लोग जो लोग प्लान बना पाए और जो लोग डीपी वहां पे इंजीनियर्स भी है, उनको भी ओरिएंट करना, मतलब अलग अलग सैनिटेशन डीपीआरस बनाने का और ग्राम पंचायत को भी ओरिएंट करने का ये एक अभियान स्टार्ट हो रहा है. So thanks for that. Or you also mentioned that 10% of FFC can be used for support, technical support. ये मेरे लिए नया जानकारी है. Thank you for this. And this we need to inform and spread the message to all, up to all panchayats कि आपके पास जो FFC का पैसा है उसके 10% आप सपोर्ट के लिए आप स्पेंड कर सकते हो एजेंसीज को लगा के. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एक इंफॉर्मेशन है. Please continue for another 15 minutes until 6:30 in case there is any question for you, Kapil ji. I will now move to Mr. Ayush Prasad. Ayush ji, we have only 15 minutes left, I think. But in a few minutes, can you please highlight if there are any bottlenecks that you have seen that needs addressing at the state and country level? Only bottlenecks, so that because here you have the JS Panchayati Raj, you have the Ministry of Jal Shakti Director, you have state officials also. So you being the only officer from the field level here, from district level, speaking, I'd want you to highlight certain bottlenecks which you feel needs immediate attention, and then we will open the session for some questions. Over to you, Ayush.
Thank you, Sujoy ji. Before I say a lot of bottlenecks, I want to point out that Jal Shakti Ministry is very, very receptive, and also the departments at the state level, UNICEF is very receptive to our requests from time to time. The bottlenecks that I mentioned, there were many bottlenecks last year. Many of them have been resolved. Some of the ones I mentioned are the ones that we are currently facing, which I'm sure would get resolved in the due course of time. So before I start venting out my list of bottlenecks, I thought I should clarify that the department is extremely responsive, and I'm very grateful for that. Sir, I want to point out that there is one of the biggest bottlenecks is that once a technical sanction has been granted for a particular project, Gram Panchayats take a lot of time to actually give out the work orders. So this is a massive problem that we have faced because allocation of fund, finding giving out work orders takes a lot of time. Second thing in this is, even when the tender is actually floated, many of these tenders go unanswered because some of the technical specifications that are there that may not be easily available for supply. So even if they're purchasing on GEM certain equipments or floating a online tender on our website mahatender.com, there may be certain bottlenecks with regard to people filling in. And even when a item is supplied, many a times we find that quality assurance is not there. This is because the benchmarking of standards, because unlike constructing a road or constructing a water supply scheme, the benchmark standard are currently still fluid because there are new technologies that are coming in. There are new challenges. Everybody says that I am better than the other. So there are certain challenges in defining what is called standardized rates as well as quality parameters. So that becomes a bit of a challenge. Second major bottleneck is, of course, the manpower. Sir just spoke about 15 Finance Commission funds being used for manpower. But unfortunately, what happens with 15 Finance Commission is that 10% administrative expenses, multiple things are there. So, for example, in Maharashtra, one of the largest amount of any Gram Panchayat gets spent on what is called manpower for data entry operators. You know, there are, we run what is called Aple Sarkar Seva Kendras, the Citizen Services Center, which goes by different names in different states. So the manpower to man those organizations actually comes from the 15 Finance Commission. So many of the smaller Gram Panchayats actually, a lot of these 10% funds gets used up there and then. One of the other bottlenecks that we are facing in Gram Panchayats that require to do what is called joint projects, that is, as you call, cluster projects that are more efficient, co-located Gram Panchayats, or one of the Gram Panchayats not having any land available for this kind of projects. We find a massive challenge in this is that there are two issues primarily. Gram Panchayats do not have there is no way for 15 Finance Commission fund from one Gram Panchayat to be spent in another Gram Panchayat. The rules do not allow for that. In Maharashtra, the Gram Nidhi, that is the tax revenues, can be spent outside, but with extensive permission that goes all the way to at least my level. But at Gram Panchayat, 15 Finance Commission funds cannot be spent outside. Second is, if waste from one village is being transferred to another village, you require license of Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. So this becomes another challenge in doing what is called cluster projects. Third, one more issue is land, because running these projects are labor intensive. The amount of fund required is huge. So sweeping of roads, lifting of waste, transportation of waste, all of this requires funds. There is a big question mark in front of Gram Panchayats where to actually get these funds. The subject of solid waste management is at the Panchayat level. You know, all Gram Panchayats acts across the country, the subject, so in Maharashtra, Gram Panchayat is supposed to do 83 subjects. That is what the Gram Panchayat Act says. कि 83 सब्जेक्ट्स पे एक ग्राम पंचायत को काम करना है, उसमें एक सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट एक सब्जेक्ट है. बट यदि हम क्लस्टर प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं या जिला परिषद को कुछ मदद करनी है, हमारे पास एक एसबीएम की एक संस्थान है जो हमारे वाटर सैनिटेशन का एक डेप्यूटी सीईओ रहता है पर जिला परिषद में. बट एक सर मेजर चैलेंज हमारे पास ये आती है कि जेडपी के पास कुछ भी प्रोक्योरमेंट करने के लिए या कॉमन प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाने के लिए हमारे पास कोई भी संस्थान नहीं है, या चलाने के लिए लेट से हम एक प्लास्टिक का संयुक्त प्रकल्प लगाना चाहते हैं, फंड्स हमको ग्राम पंचायत से लेना है, तब हमारे पास कुछ एक सेंट्रलाइज्ड फंड एजेंसी हमारे पास उपलब्ध नहीं है. तो एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. तो हमने इसके लिए एक प्रपोजल दिया विच इज अंडर कंसिडरेशन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र कि एक सेक्शन 8 कंपनी स्थापित किया जाए फॉर सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट रिलेटेड सर्विसेज. मैंने पहले भी एक जीएसटी के बारे में बताया था, जीएसटी इन रिकवर्ड आइटम्स, जैसे स्प्रिंग है, स्प्रिंग अगर आप नया स्प्रिंग बेचें या सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में रिकवर करके स्प्रिंग बेचें, दोनों पे जीएसटी लगता है. तो इस पे बहुत बड़ा एक क्वेश्चन मार्क है. सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट को अगर सक्सेस करना है तो हमारे पास कंप्रेस्ड बायोगैस एक बहुत अच्छा ये है. ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज जो है, भारत सरकार के मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस ने एक पॉलिसी निकाला है जिसमें 200 बार प्रेशर पे यदि आप गैस बेचते हैं पर केजी पे 46 रुपए मिलता है. बट ये जो पॉलिसी है दैट इज मोर फोकस्ड टुवर्ड्स शुगर केन. अगर शुगर इंडस्ट्री का आप देखें, वेस्टर्न यूपी हो या हमारे वेस्टर्न महाराष्ट्र का ये भाग हो या दक्षिण कर्नाटका का भाग हो, तो अराउंड 32-33 रुपीस में शुगर फैक्ट्रीज को ये लगता है. एंड उसके बाद अबाउट 10 to 12 रुपीस पर केजी में प्रॉफिट होता है. ग्राम पंचायत का कॉस्ट आई थिंक 52 के आसपास जाता है. हमने यहाँ पर बहुत डीपली कॉस्टिंग करने की कोशिश की थी. 52 के आसपास कॉस्टिंग जाता है, पूरा ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, प्रोसेसिंग वगैरह. तो इसके लिए हमको एक अगर इसका प्रोक्योरमेंट प्राइस जो है अगर बढ़ा दिया जाए तो ग्राम पंचायत को एक एडिशनल इंसेंटिव रहेगा कि बायोगैस डाइजेस्टर से कुछ लगाएं.
Ayush ji, can I interrupt a bit? I'm sorry, but actually I have to request you to halt because otherwise we'll not, because we have to have a hard stop around 6:35 and there are people who want to ask you questions.
Thank you. So I stop here.
Yeah, I also like to ask you questions. There will be questions in the chat for you also. So apologies for that. Reddy Saab, who is helping me, Mr. Reddy, are you online? You have looked at the questions in the chat box. Do you want to highlight a few to the participants? I just request you, we'll just extend this session a bit by maybe maximum 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, just to answer 3 or 4 questions. Mr. Reddy, over to you. Mr. Reddy, are you online?
I am online, sir. I am
Yes.
looking into the process. So, SLMWM is a more a management and utility service. them one-time service provision. So how to build systems and resource, how to build the systems and resource allocation process grassroots level.
Okay, so we will take this question. Question is that SBM 2, as Choudhary Saab mentioned, is a continuous process. So how do we build systems and resources at the Gram Panchayat level? So I will request anybody who wants to speak on this, either Kapil ji or Joint Secretary, whoever, systems and resources. Or CEO Zilla Panchayat, if you want, Ayush.
Since it is not one.
I'll just come in here. I don't think systems and resources can be created as far as the technical systems are considered at the Gram Panchayat level, because the projects are too small. So it is always best to create it at the district level. We have done that. So from the 4%, so what we did was we hired engineers under JJM and used them for both solid waste management as well as JJM. So the 4% that funds that are available, 15 finance commission. So at the district level, so for example, my district, we get about 340 crore rupees in 15 finance commission. So 10% of that is quite a sizable, 10% comes to ZP, and 3.4 crores is the administrative funds that is available with us. So out of those 3.4 crores, you can spend about 45-50 lakh rupees. That is sufficient to get technical expertise for drawing up the DPRs, making the estimates, getting the technical sanctions done, etc. So those sort of technical resources, it is always best to do at the district level. Gram Panchayats become very small is my own understanding.
So Ayush ji, I want to put a follow-up question on that. Ayush ji, you said a bit ago, some time ago, that you have problem of resources to spend which you can do for multi-village and multi-GP schemes. But what I want to know, the 15th Finance Commission funds also provide resources for block panchayats and district panchayats. And I do not know what is the usage pattern of these amounts there. Or is it only the Gram Panchayat funds that are being spent? So is there any plan or is there any method where the block panchayat allocations under FFC and the district panchayat allocations are also used for multi-village and multi-GP schemes? Over to you.
See, the problem is not as far as construction is considered. The problem is with regard to operations. As I was saying, that we do not have an institutional setup at the district level that can look at continuous operations. So if you compare a Zilla Parishad or a block panchayat with the municipal corporations, so in municipal corporations, there is an entire setup with financial resources, everyday allocation of funds. Now, if I set up a unit for, say, material recovery or something like that, let's say Satara district is setting up a plastic oil industry or something from their Zilla Parishad and Panchayat Samiti funds. The big question is, how do you fund the electricity supply to that going forward? Now, Gram Panchayats have their tax resources. Zilla Parishads are entirely dependent on grant in aid from some scheme or state governments. So how do we actually keep funding the operations when it is not a core subject of Zilla Parishad? So financially, solid waste management is a transferred subject to Gram Panchayat. Zilla Parishad is just a facilitator. So that becomes a challenge.
Correct. I think you got your point, and Joint Secretary Panchayati Raj and SBM Director are both here, and I'm sure they are looking at this issue. Reddy ji, is there any other question you want to highlight? Can you unmute yourself, Reddy sir? You are muted.
Sir. See,
yeah, go ahead now.
One thing is on GPDP, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
See, on GPDP, in 5-year plan, in a grassroots level, it is very difficult. It is not happening. So how should we ensure this? Because this is perspective planning in terms of achieving the SLWM. So how this, because current level GPT planning itself has many bottlenecks. How should it be handled?
We have Joint Secretary MOPR here, Sethi Sab, who handles GPDP. So, sir, the question basically is, the feeling from the participants is that the GPDP process at the ground level needs strengthening, basically, to make sure that it is more reflective of the needs of the population. And as Mr. Ayush Prasad also spoke, that even though FFC funds are available, there is no provision of spending the money across panchayats. I mean, if you do a multi-panchayat scheme, then there is a kind of problem. So can you please help and advise on that? Mr. Sethi. Sir, you are muted, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So as far as districts or blocks being able to give the funds down to the Gram Panchayats, or this capability of panchayats, even if the Gram Panchayats want to give some funds to the higher level for as a contributory provision for a bigger scheme. So these are all possible, and these are being done by the states as of now. I would like to clarify this. There is a system we already built into the e-Gram Swaraj, where from a higher level, that is from a district level, funds can be given to the block level, or from the block level to the Gram Panchayat level, or from the district Panchayat to directly to the Gram Panchayat also, for carrying out certain activities, and likewise vice versa also. So this is already being done. I don't see any problems there, and many of the states are already doing it.
Okay. Okay, sir. I think what we'll need to do is to work more with Panchayati Raj departments at state level, so that I'll request you also, because Ayush has also picked up this point, and he's CEO Zilla Panchayat Pune. So it seems that there is some kind, maybe each state are implementing it in their own way. So the ministry can possibly look at this issue and see how more and more GPDPs get and more kind of multi-village and multi-GP schemes can be processed. Right.
Yeah. So as far as multi-village, I'm just coming in again. So as far as multi-village schemes are concerned, the funds that are given at the block level and district level, specifically the tied grants, are we envisage that the whole idea is to have this multi-village scheme, being that individual GPs, they can have the GP level schemes, but if you need a multi-village scheme or a multi-GP scheme, so the blocks have larger size of grants and districts have even larger size of grants. So we envisage that although some of these multi GP schemes are going to be less in number compared to the individual GP schemes, so they should be able to effectively channelize their funds there. And accordingly, we have also built in the provision into the e-Gram Swaraj. In our discussion with the various states, we know that many of the states are doing it also. In case there is any kind of communication gap with a few states, we would welcome for any queries coming to the ministry, and we should be able to sort it out.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Ayush ji, I think we'll request help from you. If you can put this into an email, and we can ask, make sure clarifications are issued from the ministry on this issue, because I can understand so what you said, what I could make out was, if one Gram Panchayat wants to contribute to a scheme, and so 5 Gram Panchayats want to use their own resources to contribute to a combined scheme, whether that is possible or not. I think you were saying that is not possible. Sethi Saab is saying that possibly use block panchayat funds and district funds, but maybe we can talk to the ministry to see whether even that contributory thing is possible or not. I will go to the one more question, which is already last question. Is there any other important question which you want to highlight? And after that, we will close.
So there are many questions, but one of that talking about is how to bring this district level. Both SBM and JHM need to work together at the district level to quota state and handle the panchayats. This is not happening. What measures are needed?
Right. I'll go back to Ayush on this, and maybe to Assam also. Ayush, there are very few states where water supply and sanitation is in one department. Not all states have it. In fact, I think Maharashtra is one of the few states where the water sanitation and water supply and sanitation. Assam, of course, we have our Assam colleague here. Assam also has PHED, which handles both water sanitation. But most other states like UP or Bihar or MP and Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, all are separate. So how do you see convergence happening of water and sanitation at the field level? And what would you advise? I'm sure you speak to your colleagues and your batchmates across states. How do you see it happening at the district level? Don't speak from Maharashtra perspective, but speak from a broader all India perspective if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, with regard to water and sanitation happening together, what at least I'll start with my own example. So when we had to do these projects for SBM for the solid waste management at Gram Panchayat level, one of the challenges that we were facing was that we did not have the number of engineers to actually draw out the DPRs. So there were 2-3 approaches taken. Some districts went in for hiring of agencies to basically get them to do the DPRs. One of the approach that Pune Zilla Parishad took, which your colleagues in UNICEF have been kind enough to appreciate, was that we hired our own engineers. We hired about 50 engineers from a manpower agency, and we had to do this. So when we required these engineers, we did not really have the funds to basically get an engineer under the SWM or SBM Part 2. So what we did was we basically hired these engineers from JJM, and we convert the technical expertise of these engineers of JJM to basically work on SWM. One of the advantages that has come in is one of the major points where households that actually want water supply is at the point of the toilet. So the water supply scheme, the tap connection point is at the toilet. So this is a advantage that we basically got. But at the national level, when we talk to various things, even though departments may be one of the major challenges that are there is most of the engineers who are working in this department are actually experts on water supply. Their expertise is not really on SWM with regard to the latest 2016 policy or anything like that. Now, the challenge that comes in is that most of these are civil engineers, not environment engineers. They do not also, many of them don't even understand the requirements of getting license from the pollution control, state pollution control boards, etc. So this is a massive bottleneck that is there. We have managed to overcome this bottleneck thanks to the support we receive from UNICEF with regard to training of our civil engineers. That is one thing that really helped. Our own training institute, Yashoda, that also has spent considerable amount of time in multi-skilling the water supply engineers. But in other districts, as far as I know, I understand this has been done independently by hiring 2 separate agencies, and especially where and that is one of the reasons if you see the number of technical sanctions that have been given in SWM is quite limited in compared to other projects. JJM has really picked up across the country, but with regard to SWM, technical sanctions, administrative approval does remain a bottleneck.
Thank you, Ayush. Thank you, Ayush. And I think that's a critical point you spoke, that for me, convergence has to happen at the district level, because the SBM 1 initiative succeeded majorly because of the convergence at district level, flexibility that was available with the collectors, CEOs at the panchayat level. The fact that you have managed to get JJM engineers to work on SBM, obviously SBM won't have engineers. Panchayati Raj department in most states don't have engineers. I was looking at feedback that was in the chat box. Bihar is a state where RD has started. So Bihar water supply has been split into large schemes by PHED and smaller schemes by RD and PR. And that RDPR also implements the SBM program. So there is convergence there. So, and I know more states where this convergence is happening, where it is individual departments. You see, the unique part is at the ministry level, water sanitation is under one ministry. But at the state level, it goes into individual departments in many states. But field level with collector and CEO, it again converges in most places to one administrative unit. And of course, the panchayat is the same. So convergence has to be pushed at the GP level, at the district level. That is how SBM 1 succeeded. And that is the only way SBM second phase can also succeed. And the SBM has to take advantage of the PHED or Jal Jeevan Mission engineers to help prepare the DPR system. Otherwise, it will not be important. It will not be possible to really progress. And as you correctly said, where this has not been possible, SBM Phase 2 ODF Plus projects have not been able to be sanctioned so far, and progress slow. Since this is a big kind of understanding, we are coming towards the end of our session. 4 things I want to highlight. First of all, SBCC communication has to continue. Jan Andolan is needed. People's participation is needed. Otherwise, SBM phase 2 won't work. Panchayats have to be placed at the center of the entire initiative. That is a clear learning. I saw one more feedback there that the focus now has moved to ODF plus. We need to look at retrofitting and using facilities, using toilets, repairing. That is critical, and that has also to continue. The second is that planning has to happen at PRI level. You cannot plan at a state level, or you cannot even plan above at the executive engineer or district level and expect Panchayat to follow it and implement successfully and sustainably. Planning, village sanitation plan has to happen. The GP sanitation plan has to happen. The CEO, the collector, the executive engineer, the Panchayati Raj, SBM coordinator, district has to have the capacity to support the GP in preparing the village sanitation plan. Where this is happening, for example, in Maharashtra, we are getting plenty of VSPs and DPRs approved. But in other states, progress is slow because this facility to prepare those plans, to prepare the DPRs, to help in contracting is going slow, and that requires support. Thirdly, support to the GP is critical. Once the plan is made, DPR is made, the GP needs to be supported, not only to help contract and implement, but also help operate and maintain. As Priyanka ji mentioned, if the GP wants to ensure plastic waste is not used, they can fine. For that, they need support. Priyanka ji repeatedly stressed this point, that support to the GP is critical. Plastic waste is one, but grey water, fecal sludge, it needs support from the Panchayat. Cannot be expected to do everything itself, needs support. So the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, the SBM G2, the state departments in charge of SBM need to support districts to provide support to the panchayats, whether it is from the district level department or whether it is NGOs or CSOs or education institutions, research institutions, but support has to go to the panchayats. Lastly, for me, that I want to end with is that the success of SBM 1, because I was involved in SBM 1 when I was in the ministry as director SBM. I implemented it there for a couple of years, then I joined UNICEF. SBM 1 was successful because of one reason. That was flexibility given to the field level. The district and the panchayat were given blanket flexibility to implement the program. Huge SBCC funds were available. I remember huge programs and campaigns, Jan Andolan happening across states, in Bengal, in Madhya Pradesh, in South India, I remember in Andhra, I remember in Kerala, Gujarat, thousands of people attending programs on capacity building, on communication, on CLTS. So flexibility is needed in SBM 2. Collectors and CEOs have to own the program. It will not happen if it is just left like that. Collectors have to come in. They have to say, yes, SBM2 is my program. I need to implement it. Gram Sarpanchas have to say it is my program. We have to communicate it, and they have to own the program. If they own the program, because finance is available, government is open to support. NGOs, CSOs, all of us here in this program who are attending this conclave, they are extremely prepared to come out and help. This is an opportunity we cannot miss, and I'm sure this conclave will bring out, we have a call to action which will be released, and we will make sure the call to action incorporates all the information that we have learned today. I wish to, at the end, I wish to extend my heartiest thanks to all the speakers who have spoken today, Mr. Kushwant Singh Sethi, Joint Secretary, Panchayati Raj, Mr. Kapil Choudhary, Director, SBM DDWS, Mr. Partha Pratim Ghosh, State Coordinator, SBMG Assam, Mr. Ayush Prasad, CEO, ZP Pune, and the main person today who spoke. Thank you, Madam Priyanka Tiwari, Gram Pradhan, Gram Panchayat Rajpur, Hathras District, UP. आप लोग आए इस प्रोग्राम में सपोर्ट किया, आपकी बहुमूल्य जानकारी और एक्सपीरियंस आपने शेयर किए. We will prepare a report and share with all of you. I request all of you to continue to attend the conclave. कल और परसों दोपहर बाद there is detailed sessions. Please come. Please give your valuable inputs and please spread the message of successful sanitation in the country. We promise that we will try and make ODF plus India by 2025. Thank you very much for joining. Over.